Hey, going here, Rick Neuenhoven again with another 3-minute video. We're trialing something different. Instead of recording it and posting it, we're doing a Facebook Live message for you all. So last week we were on the theme of wealth creation, and we've come to the conclusion that our wealth creation theme actually can go for a lot longer than the week. So we decided we'll continue it on because we're trying to provide value add for our clients and also people that are just looking for more information. So last time I was talking about dividends on Friday and how it is a plausible investment option for people that a lot of Australians will not consider. So I wanted to go into investing into companies and dividends a little bit more detail for you today. So in relation to dividends, when we're looking at shares and investing in companies, we've got to not disturb. So, did you hang up, Blake? Awesome, thank you. So, when we're looking at shares, we're looking at a component of them called dividends. And so, what is that? That's where a company will pay you income for the ownership in the company that you hold. So, that is the shares. So, some of these shares will be a franked dividend, which means tax has already been taken out on your behalf by the company. And sometimes you have these things called an unfranked dividend where no tax has been taken out by the company. So that means when you put it into your tax return, you have to pay tax on it. But what you forget is that these companies are actually paying you an income for the ownership in it. So sometimes when people look at the fluctuations in shares when they're going up and down, they forget about the dividends that are paid out for it. So what you can do as a potential share investor is actually have a look at the type of dividends that are paid for the company that you're looking to invest in. So to give you an example, mining companies are generally really poor when it comes to paying a dividend. So if you're investing into a mining company, you might be looking at a strategy where you're trying to get more capital growth than an income yield, compared to a bank, where banks can pay quite a good dividend for the ownership in the company. However, at this point in time, you'll be paying a very high price for a share in a banking industry at this point in time. So what you can do, there's a ratio called dividend yield ratio that you can have a look at, and that will give you the number of times a bank has to pay you a dividend to get the money back on the investment that you actually make. So a great example of looking and timing, trying to buy shares and the dividends that you get was the ANZ Bank back in 2008 around the GFC. What happened there was that the share price was at about $27 a share, and then with the GFC, the price plummeted to about $12. What happened was there was a lot of rumours going around with ANZ that they were holding bad overseas debt, and therefore investors were worried that they weren't going to get their money back. So people bailed on ANZ, and the shares dropped from 27 right down to $12 a share. What a bargain it was. I know some financial planners that loaned up about $500,000 into the ANZ shares, because what happened is it went back to about $24 a share within 12 months. So if you had $500,000 in there, it went back to $1 million. But not only that, the dividend yield for the ANZ shares was 7 times. Get my fingers right and thumbs. So that meant you only need to get 7 dividends or 3.5 years worth of dividends to get your money back on that original outlay, right? So there's always 2 components. So if you're going to look at investing in shares and you want to have a dabble yourself, have a look at the dividend yield and see what the dividend yield is. So the amount of dividends you've got to get your money back for the investment, right? The other way of looking at getting some strategy into the companies that you want to invest your money into is a great ratio called return on asset. So where you get the net income and divide it by your total assets to give you a percentage. If you can find companies where their return on asset is around 15%, which is pretty difficult, but if you can, that's usually a well-oiled machine of a company and worth putting your money into. So I hope these tips on dividends and shares has been beneficial for you today, and we look forward to punching out another one tomorrow, and hopefully the Facebook Live was a little bit different to the recorded video. Speak to you soon.